Shalom. We give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakodash, and demolish the apostles and elders of the great millstone, and salutations to the hopeful elect. This is brother I'm Noah from GMS Chicago, and here what you see here on my screen, right? You've got basically EU, or the European Union, telling its citizens to prepare for war. Alright, they're telling them to stockpile 72 hours worth of supplies, alright, in case of an emerging crisis that are about to occur. And in most of these news outlets, alright, they're explaining how of these variety of crises that is going to uh, hit on certain places, such as some heavy storms or natural disasters, and including cyber attacks and military attacks. All right, and then meanwhile, you have EU warning its citizens to prepare for war. Here in America, all right, Esau don't tell you to prepare for war at all. Let's say as Brussels had told, I'm going to start with, the European countries preparing their citizens for possible emergencies. In the shadow of Russia's war with Ukraine, some European countries have offered advice on how to prepare for conflict and other emergencies. And they're just not telling you this just to tell you this, for no reason, all right? They know that something big is coming. They know that the time is changing. They know that these countries are this war, all right, is going to escalate into something larger, all right, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Because now you have Trump also, all right, threatening Putin with oil tariffs, all right, and then Trump is soon to put tariffs on NATO, on its own allies, and then it's going to get hectic with these countries, all right. But it says Brussels had told all EU citizens to put together an emergency kit to last for 3 days in preparation for any potential crises in the continent may face. Every member state has been asked to develop the 72-hour survival kit as part of the EU's preparedness unit strategy unveiled on Wednesday by the European Commission. The strategy includes a list of actions that member states need to take to boost their preparedness for crises, including natural disasters and cyber and military attacks. Now, let's read it again. It says a strategy includes a list of action that member states need to take to boost their preparedness for crises, including natural disasters and cyber and military attacks. And we all know about the natural disasters that are occurring, at these different variety of places. Or Esau uses his, advanced technology and somewhat, controls the weather, right? And now you have, cyber attacks, right? That are going to be a major problem real soon. Not too long. Well, yeah, 2021 or I think 2020. Well, I believe it was 2021. But you have Klaus Schwab, warning, about the cyber attacks that are about to be basically basically about to be, basically a pandemic, basically a cyber pandemic, all right, and that will for a fact will see casualties in the coming months. Right, and now you have military attacks, right? But yeah, let's keep reading. Items in the survival kit could include food, water, torches, batteries, medicines, and warm clothes. It says, or whatever his name is, The Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Management said in the EU we must think different because the threats are different. We must think bigger because the threats are bigger too. And that's right, the threats and 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 these upcoming crises are going to be like what you've never seen before. All right, we're coming into a time of Jacob's trouble, a time like no other. All right, and 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 hey, as we're coming into a time of Jacob's trouble, like a time like no other, best believe, there will be a lot of casualties. There will be a lot of mass death. All right, there's gonna be cyber attacks. There'll be famines and pestilences. All right, because hey, during in a time of war, if you look at the history, all right, there was always famines. All right, there will during the time of war, when a country goes to war, all right, they'll have their citizens, basically starve and give up most of their their food, all right, their protein, the meat to the soldiers that are going to war. All right, and the same shit is about to happen again. All right, we're coming into some real perilous times. All right. I'm not trying to make this not going to try to make this too long, but yeah, these countries are preparing for war. All right, they're not giving out these warnings, for nothing. All right, they know that something major is about to come down the pipe. All right, Joel 2:1. Oh fuck. All right, yeah, Joel 2:1. It says, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand." And then, hey, we may sound like a broken record, warning, the house of Israel, all right, of the things to come. But hey, we gotta do this, all right. We gotta do this, otherwise the blood will be upon our hands, all right. Verse 2: A day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there had not been ever like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. But yeah, it's going to be a day of darkness and gloominess, all right? All the good times are not going to come back at all right? Because the Lord is getting ready to shut things down, right, for the elect's sake, to deliver them. Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what these heathen nations are doing right now. You got EU, all right, preparing its citizens, all right, that hey, warning them that war is coming. All right, a major change is about to come, and it's not going to be so great. It's not going to be so bright at all. All these nations over there in Europe are gearing up for war. Verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And hey, these weaker nations, all right, these nations that may look weak, all right, they're no longer weak anymore because now they have nuclear capabilities, all right. And yeah, in these last days, all right, there's going to be a major conventional war, over there in the desert. All right, a lot of people are going to be drafted into that war, that conventional war that's about to come to pass. All right, but the majority of these nations are these EU countries. These European countries. All right, they're preparing for a nuclear war. All right, and real soon they're going to point their missiles on Babylon, such as America. But yeah, the time is changing. All right. And they, the as Europe is as EU is warning its citizens to prepare for war. Meanwhile, you got over here in America, you got people pirating, bullshitting, all right, not paying attention what's on the news. They don't know what the fuck is going on. They don't they don't see the upcoming crises that are about to occur. All right, especially here in America, they don't think that America is going to be destroyed. These people don't know that they're going to be destroyed either. All right, these people think that they think America is going to last forever. All right, but hey, they're not watching. All right, they're not watching at all. It says First Thessalonians 5:2, for yourselves know that that day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And that's right. The events that are about to take place, all right, these people are going to be caught unaware. All right, they're gonna, all hell is gonna break loose when these people least expect it. All right, this is gonna take them by surprise, and right now we're in that peace and safety right now. Yeah, we went into that COVID era, the lockdown era. It wasn't much. It wasn't really anything at all. All right, we were locked down for a couple months, but hey, these lockdowns, they will return again soon, and it's gonna get much worse. All right, and hey, we've been in the peace. The vibration of this entire earth has been in the vibration of peace and safety. But hey, the Lord is making moves. The Lord is making major moves to the point where the Lord can have anything happen by now. Anything can happen anytime. Tomorrow, next week, next month, we don't know. It's all the will of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua. Verse 4, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. And then, us of the hopeful elect, all right, when all hell breaks loose and all these major events happen, all right, it's not going to take us as a thief in the night. As a thief in the night, because we're watching. All right, we're giving the warning, and we're warning Israel, or the house of Israel, of the things that are about to happen on this earth. Verse 5, ye are the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. And that's what we should be continuing to do. All right, watching for the prophecies and looking at the news and matching them with the scriptures. All right, because we're in that time already. All right, people are going broke. We're coming into an economic depression, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. All right, America's not bouncing back, even though you have Trump in office. All right, that's not going to change anything. Matter of fact, it's only going to worsen. That's only going to worsen, society even more. All right, because hey, not even Trump is in control of himself either. All right, the Lord, all right, is the one in control. The Lord controls all spirits. The Lord controls basically everything. Ezekiel 33:1. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coast and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. And that's right, we have to give out that warning. Otherwise, the blood will be upon our own hands. All right, and we will be found guilty. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning, his blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So thou, son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. And hey, we gotta do this, all right? Once you hear this word and you're given, this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, or you're given this warning, you wake up to the fact that you're an Israelite, all right? You've been marked. You've been marked either to be saved or to be destroyed. All right, and in which the majority, this word has already been prophesied unto the four corners of the earth. That's why you see major events that are happening. That's why you see that World War III is in the midst. All right, it's brewing in the midst. That's why you see, all right, the upcoming implementation of the RFID microchip. You can see that happening. All right, it's only a matter of time for when these prophecies come to pass, all right, because we're there already, all right. Like again, anything can happen any time now. Revelations 11 and 4 will be the last one. What the fuck? Third woe. Here we go. All right, Revelations 11 and 14. And the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that's right. World War III is brewing in the midst. All what the prophecy is left to be that is left to come to pass before World War III is the implementation of the microchip, all right, which is a major prophecy that is extremely important, and has to be prophesied. All right, the correct way. The mark of the beast is the RFID microchip. But with that, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and Shalom.